Hi, everyone. My name is Savitha Subramanian. I'm a senior program officer working at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and today I'll be talking about promoting women-centered research. My presentation has two objectives. One is to walk you through some of the barriers that exist in taking a women-centered approach to research, and the second is to identify opportunities to address some of these barriers. The reason why I'm interested in this topic is that I've worked in the area of research around maternal newborn health and health system strengthening for over 17 years. And I've seen that there is a strong bias in terms of really trying to understand supply side issues. But when we look to understand demand side issues or try to understand women or clients' perspectives on some of these issues, it's often a secondary objective. The rigor we employ is much less. And when evidence is generated, it's rarely incorporated into the actual design of the intervention. I believe this research is adapting and progress is being made, but it continues to be slow. So what I did is I approached colleagues, both within the foundation and external, to understand why exactly women-centered research hasn't caught on. And as you can see, their perspectives are outlined here. Some of the key ones I'll highlight is that currently there's not enough female leadership when we think of research, whether it be heads of research committees, academic institutions, PI, research committees. These are more often led by men, with sometimes women being co-PIs. But even then, these women who are co-PIs don't come from the countries that we actually work in or do the research in. There's a complete lack of understanding of what women's issues actually are. We go in with preconceived notion and biases, and sometimes undermine what these issues are just based on our own lived experience. There's also bias in our data collection instruments and tools, which tend to be really rigid, our metrics, which don't really allow for an expansive interrogation of what these women's issues are, and then incorporation of that evidence into actual measurement metrics around progress. I also asked these colleagues then what are the opportunities, and there are quite a few in addressing some of these barriers. One is to really invest in research methodologies that really encourage the expansion of interrogation around key women's issues. The second is really to promote women PIs and seek institutions in the countries that we work in to be at the forefront of this research. And then the third is to really make some noise about our biases, how we view a woman as often, we view women as we think of pregnancy and delivery related to the newborn and child, but there's an opportunity to really call out the need to understand a woman as an individual being, her whole life really, and understand the ecosystem within which she lives, and then challenges associated with that. I then thought through the opportunities that I can lead on in my institution, and there are quite a few. I think the first is that I manage several investments where we're currently doing research on equity and understanding access and quality care for mothers and newborns. So to encourage grantees to really dive into what some of the women's perspectives and challenges are in the settings that we're working in, and make sure that evidence really feeds into the design of the intervention. So hold my partners accountable to that. The second is to kind of relook at the investments that we have around research, and take another opportunity to incorporate perhaps more gendered objectives, so that we are really looking at gender intentionality and gender transformation much more systematically. The third is that, we're now part of the Gender Equality Division. I really think it provides us with an opportunity to incorporate perspectives around women's economic empowerment and power and voice in the research that we do around health, so that we do take a more holistic view around a woman's life. And the fourth is really to push for women PIs as a PO to seek out institutions that perhaps we normally don't grant with, and to really seek them out, to seek out the women PIs, and to encourage them to apply for these research grants, these RFPs that we put out. I truly believe there's an ecosystem of women researchers out there, and I think we just need to provide more opportunity for them to be at the forefront. What WomenLift has taught me about leadership, and as I thought of this project, is that leadership is hard, especially for women leaders, we're in organization and context where there are multiple barriers. And so I think it's important to be really aware of these factors and barriers, but then to really come back to the core values that drive me personally as a leader in this area. And so So that being authentic, being humble, being open to learning, and realizing that growth in leadership isn't linear. One doesn't have to go to the next position to be a better leader, but one can do a lot in their current position to really expand on our leadership growth. And so for me, it's to understand how to use my voice confidently in my position to really bring together different perspectives, and then to really make sure I take time to self-reflect on my own inherent biases and how I approach certain work, and to really be more aware of that. And in terms of sustaining this progress, I think WomenLift has provided us with a whole host of tools to really set a vision for our leadership and then to really measure progress towards that. And it's also given us and me a community of women leaders in this area who are in this field, who are really trying to make a difference and move forward. And so I truly believe we'll continue encouraging each other on this leadership journey as we continue on this work moving forward. So I thank you for your time, and I look forward to answering any of your questions. Thank you.